Welcome back to another episode of Streetpreneurpodcast. I'm Melvin McNeil and I'm your host, and we have another great show for you today. We're going to talk about automations, we're going to talk about business systems, and I have a very special guest with me today. He's the CEO. He's been doing this for how many years now?
4 years now. 4 years.
4 years. And he's helped a lot of entrepreneurs succeed with their businesses, whether they're aspiring entrepreneurs or established entrepreneurs. He's created thousands of systems and also helped millions of entrepreneurs create millions of dollars. And I'd like to welcome my very special guest today. Excuse me, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. Welcome to the show, man. Adrian McGee. Welcome to Streetpreneur Podcast.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure, brother. It's always good to be here in the A. It's always good. We got in from Ohio this morning, and super excited to be here, provide value to your audience, provide value to you maybe, and really just come in and just pour into the people, man. I'm excited.
And just let's kind of delve a little bit into your past, into your background. Just kind of tell my audience a little bit about where you're from so they can kind of get familiar with you. How did you get started in this whole business, man? I'm pretty sure you were in corporate. Mm-hmm. Just kind of tell us how you made that transition.
Yeah, good question. So, you're right. I actually started off in corporate. It's so interesting, man, because I always say my journey is a little bit different when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I was actually doing what I love in corporate, which was essentially going into different departments in our organization and basically implement systems, making it more efficient, helping them document processes, all these different things. And what ended up happening was I got my first reality of what it looks like to create real wealth. And what happened was I took what I was doing at my 9 to 5 and I basically did that for other entrepreneurs. So instead of doing it for, the corporation I was doing it for, I said, I'm going to take the same thing and I'm going to do it for a small business owner. Mm-hmm. At this time, it was about 3.5, 4 years ago, I received a $5,000 payment from a tax business. It was a business that did taxes, and they paid us $5,000. Mm-hmm. Now, why this was so important, and I kind of bring out the $5,000, is because it was the first point in my life where I wasn't getting paid for the amount of time that I was putting in something, and I was getting paid for the value that I created instead. And that's when the light bulb hit. That's when it said, oh, this is how wealthy people make money, because they figure out what is the way that we can create income and not make it based on a limited resource, which is our time, and how can we do that and be paid based on the value that we create. And so once I got that touch of reality, that's when I was like, okay, what's next? And so I essentially started growing, getting more clients doing the same exact thing, to the point where I replaced my 9 to 5. I was making double for my business, was making double what I was making at my 9 to 5, and I had a 6-figure salary. Oh yeah. So it was hard, man. I was like, man, I don't want to leave. Like leaving, like I built all this. I went to college, got my master's degree, and I was doing what I loved. Right, it gave me this skill set, but I had to make the decision, like, okay, if I want to be able to truly create a life of real freedom, I got to take this step. And essentially, that's when we started growing, and ended up, I was able to leave my 9 to 5, and that's when we were really able to scale the business after that.
Okay. Just kind of walk us through the process. I come to you, I'm a business owner. I don't have any systems in place. Mm-hmm. What is the evaluation process, whether you take me on as a client? I know it's based on my needs and services, but I'm a startup company. So just kind of walk me through your evaluation process of bringing on a new client on board.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we always start off with, where's the CEO spending their time? Because as a startup, as a small business, the most valuable resource in that business is where the CEO is spending their time. So we always do an audit and evaluate, where are you spending your time? And a lot of people make this way more difficult than what it has to be. It's really as simple as you evaluating for the past few days, where did you spend your time, energy, and even your money, right? And so once we're able to evaluate that, that's when we're able to put systems in place to remove them from being inside of the business where they're working on a day-to-day, and get to a point where they're working on two things. Well, it's actually, there's two goals that you have with every task that you do as a CEO. One, it gives you energy, right? Because the way that you create a business that feels like a 9 to 5 is by taking on a lot of things that you don't want to do. So we make sure you get energy from the task you're doing, but then we also make sure that the task you're doing is also making money. because a lot of CEOs don't put the value of their time, right? And that's how they stay trapped. They end up doing administrative tasks, things that they can pay someone
To do.
$5 per hour to do, right? If you get a virtual assistant from the Philippines, they're doing all this time doing that when in reality their time is worth $500, $1,000 per hour. And so that's the first thing we do is like, where are you spending your time? And then how can we either remove those things, right? Because you're probably, most entrepreneurs are doing things that they have no business doing. No one should be doing it. So we got to remove the things that aren't providing value. The next thing we have to do is if there's opportunity to automate it, then we automate it. And then the final thing is delegating it. How can we hand this over to someone else to take it over so that way you can focus and do what you do best as a CEO?
Okay. As far as team building, you building your own powerhouse team in-house.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend to business owners who already have all the systems that you mentioned in place? Now, the second step that they want to do is build their own in-house team.
Yeah.
What do you recommend?
Yeah, the first thing every CEO needs is they need an administrator, right? They need an executive admin. Now, an executive admin has a responsibility of clearing your schedule and also clearing your mind and giving you clarity. Because, like, I'll give you an example. For me, no one can just reach out to me directly. And this is what we do for the people we work with. Like, no one can just reach out and just have immediate contact with you. They need to go through a barrier. Because there is this rule, we call it the 25-minute rule. Every time that you get distracted from anything that you're doing, let's say you're locked in, you're working on something, if you get distracted, on average, it takes you 25 minutes to get back to that full level of productivity you were at.
That's true.
And so imagine you being a CEO and you're working on your business, you're doing these high-level activities, but you're getting distracted every 15 minutes from someone writing you on Instagram, from checking the email to checking the phone call. Well, what we do is we say, hey, I only spent a few minutes working on this task. No, in reality, you lost 25 minutes of productivity because you got distracted and now you have to refocus. So an executive admin manages your calendar, so make sure you book things on your calendar. There are barrier between people trying to reach out to you because when you own a business, I mean, people are reaching out. Like on average, I would say most business owners have at least 20 to 50 people on the low end reaching out to them every day, not including their friends and family or any of that, right? And so we have to create that barrier and also that person that provides us accountability. Because administrative tasks, we can go get a virtual assistant from the Philippines and pay them $5 per hour. Well, if your time is valued at $200, $500 per hour as a CEO, every time you're doing an administrative task, you are literally pouring money down a drain. So an executive admin is always the first person that any CEO, any business owner needs to hire.
Team, okay. Is it difficult getting in contact with these agencies from the Philippines?
Not at all.
Have they really been successful in helping you and your clients?
Yeah, I mean, over the past year, we've probably hired easily over 80 to 100 virtual assistants. This is because we outsource them to the entrepreneurs that need them as well. But even me, I have 15 team members on my team right now.
Okay.
And they're all from the Philippines. Now, what we always tell people is, yes, you can work with us. We'll go find a VA for you, hire them, get them trained, all that good stuff. But they're really easy to find. One of the most valuable resources that we found to hire Philippines are on Facebook groups.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. Facebook groups. It's crazy. Yeah. You go in there, you literally search Philippine virtual assistants and just search for all the Facebook groups. You'll find Facebook groups with tens of thousands, 100,000 different people who are looking for work from the Philippines and literally can make a job post and get flooded with DMs from these people. Now, we did used to use a site called Online Jobs PH, so onlinejobs.ph. We were using that for a while, but we just, I don't know, people on there are overcharging. There's a lot of fraud going on over there. So I would say no matter where you hire a virtual assistant from, make sure you do your due diligence to make sure they're legit, they can do the things that they do. But yeah, Facebook groups have literally been like the pipeline for all of the virtual assistants that we've hired.
Okay. Let's kind of touch on AI.
Yeah.
How are you implementing AI in your business right now as far as yourself, and also what aspect are you recommending your clients use it?
Man, AI is...
Or is it going to replace funnels? Do you think it's going to replace email? Do you think it's going to... What do you think it's going to replace?
it's going to replace the people who are doing it. And the people who are doing it, the only way that you're going to stick around is by understanding that you have to use AI. The way I like to say it is we are literally living in a social experiment right now. Think about it.
Why do you say that?
There's never been a point in time where people have had access to information at the palm of their hands at the level of output that it can give us today. Like, yeah, we used to be able to Google things, but like you're telling me now I could pick up my phone and just say a 5-minute, like send a 30-second request and get access to any piece of information that I want. And so we understand that now, like, information is everywhere. People aren't paying for information anymore. It costs $20 per month with ChatGPT. It's free almost, but like the premium is the $20 per month. And so we have to understand that us as people have to get on board with this technology or we are going to get left behind. Even in my business, I used to like the things that used to take me weeks to do, I can now do it in 30 minutes. Right? I can onboard clients and get them results and deliver everything that I need in a week now when it used to take me months. So the speed that I can get people results now increases because of AI. To give you like really specific examples is like funnels, right? You said funnels. I used to have to come and write the copy for funnels myself. Like I used to have to have a conversation with you, think about it, and I used to have to like literally type it out.
Right.
I can do it in 30 seconds now.
Are these funnels worth $20,000? There's some people charging $20,000. I ain't gonna name names, but they're charging that much for sales funnels. Is it worth it, or do you recommend it? I'm sure they're selling a high end product, of course.
Yeah.
But $20,000 and $30,000 for a funnel. I mean.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right?
What's the difference between those basic funnels versus the high end sales funnels? In your opinion,
it's like. I always get people that come to me, man. I'm glad you asked this question because people always come to me and they're like, "Oh, like the funnel isn't designed this and that."
Yeah, like, they're making it look elaborate.
It looks good,
right?
Like a funnel that looks good it's not going to impact the sales. There's literally people making 9 figures from having a funnel with just a white background and black letters and a video on it, right?
And why do you think that is? Because it's more about the information versus the graphics and the looks, or?
It's more about speaking to someone. It's more about speaking to what someone is dealing with on a daily basis, right? In marketing, everyone tries to use these fancy terms and all these different things. It really comes down to me having the ability to identify what are the day-to-day symptoms that the person that I want to work with, what are they dealing with every single day? What are they waking up and saying this to themselves, right? What are those frustrations? And if I can't get down to what are they dealing with every day, I need to go to every week, right? What are they dealing with every single week? And the reason I say that is because the people that we work with, we typically get people who will come and talk to us, right? They'll have a conversation about us. Our ads pulled them in because we were speaking to these symptoms that they're dealing with every day. And then they won't move forward and they'll leave, but then they come back months later because guess what? The pain never goes away. That feeling doesn't go away until it gets solved. So for me, sales funnels is more about me having a system that can attract people who are dealing with these symptoms that I can fix, but then also having a conversion process that takes them from being someone who just discovered who I am to someone who's now paying an invoice.
Right.
The funnel's only going to be 10 to 15% of that. That's truly necessary, right? Like the funnel, the design and stuff, all of that. But what really gets people is how can I communicate to this person, make them give me their contact information.
Yeah.
Right.
And then lead magnet. Yeah.
And how can I follow up? Right. How can I stay in front of this person over and over? Because we are in a different time. We are facing a trust recession right now. People do not trust people online. So how can I speed up the process for someone to understand me enough, to trust me enough to move forward and actually purchase something from me? Because it's a lot harder now than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Right. Let's talk about social media ads and how posting in your social media platforms drive sales.
Yeah.
Just kind of give us your breakdown on that.
I'm a little different, man, because I don't...
give us some entrepreneurs some tips of what they need to do.
Honestly, what I'm about to break down is probably going to give a lot of people a little bit more affirmation because I think that now we are all being taught, hey, how can I post the best content? How can I go viral, right? How can I do these different things? Right. And that works. I know people who are pushing organic content and they're doing their thing, but that's not how I operate. I don't have a lot of followers online. I don't ever care to have a lot of followers, because what a lot of people don't tell you is that viral content doesn't attract buyers. It attracts attention,
right?
But it doesn't attract buyers.
But not buyers.
Yeah. And so I like using paid ads. All right. So what that means is, how can I go to Facebook and Instagram and say, hey, I don't want to depend on your algorithm. How can I pay you to put my content in front of the ideal person that I want to work with? Okay. And so now what I'm doing now is I'm skipping the process of trying to create viral content and things like that, and I just pay for it. It doesn't require me to have a lot of followers, but I will say that paid ads work, but it is better if you have organic content as well. Because it used to be that you can just pay for ads, spend $1, make $5 back. That's how it used to be. But now what happens is a lot more people do research. So when they click on when people first click on your ad, they're not clicking on the link that you're providing. They're clicking on your profile. Right. So you got to at least make sure that your profile has the authority, right? So I do always tell people, make sure you have good content on your page that's like a billboard, but then I use paid traffic to actually get that attention and send people to my links and things like that. Now, when it comes to paid traffic, we are in a different time because of AI. AI allows for anyone who can make a social media post, you can create ads now. Now, I used to have to pay an agency to run my ads for me. That's how everyone used to be. Right. But in today's age, 2025, with AI, the Facebook algorithm is so smart now, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to do any of that to run ads. Right. You literally are able to put the content out there. And now Facebook is really good at reading the content on your ads, kind of list like whatever you're saying in the ads, and it goes finds the people who are most likely to react to those ads. So I don't have to be an extreme specialist the way that I used to, because the algorithm is so good. Facebook analyzes, I believe it's 55,000 data points for every user that's on the software. I did not know that. 55,000 data points. So AI that Facebook has is now able to read through these 55,000 data points and bring people to your ad. You don't have to do this special targeting or anything. Let it fly. Facebook's going to bring the people to you. And that's how I build my business model now. How can I pay these platforms to attract the ideal person that I want to work with? Okay. What's a good budget to have? I would always start off, in order to feed the data enough, I would say $50 to $100 per day is the standard, which you should start off with. That usually gives Facebook enough data to go find people and to get better. Right. What is your favorite platforms besides Facebook and Instagram, and what other platforms do you honestly recommend? I just double down on those platforms. Just double down on those too. I am trying to tap into YouTube because I do use YouTube. What I will say is YouTube requires more work, requires more effort. It's more expensive if you're using paid ads on it as well. Right. But the quality of the audience is 10 times better than on the other platforms. So I do notice that when people consume my YouTube content and they book a call, they're more likely to close than someone who just sees something on Instagram or Facebook. Okay. And you think that's because of the demographic and... It's the intention behind the person, right? The person who's coming from YouTube has already studied. They've already been tapped in, so it's easy for them to come in. Right. Now, let's remember this. YouTube is owned by Google, right? Yes. So it's the same platform. So Google ads work the same way. So think about it like this. If I own a towing company, right? Let's say I tow trucks. If I ran Google ads, Google only charges me when people click on my ad. And the people who are clicking on it are people who are searching for the solution, right? So Google's going to work way better for someone who has a towing company or a local service business, because people are searching for those things and you can pay to show up and be first. And then Google only charges you based on people who click on the ad, whereas Facebook and Instagram, they charge you based on how many people see the ad. Right. So that's the power of Google and YouTube versus Facebook and Instagram, is that Google and YouTube are very, like, the intention is much higher. Like, same with YouTube, right? People search for videos on YouTube. They do. Your ad can pop up, and you only pay for when people click and watch your video on YouTube. You don't pay just because it popped up in front of a certain amount of people. They got to click on it and play it, and then these platforms charge you based on that. Right. How has mentorship helped change your business? It's everything.
Or how does it grow your business?
It's everything.
A lot of people complaining, man. I don't have $20,000 a month, $15,000 a month. How is that? Just kind of explain to my audience the impact and the worthiness of having mentorship.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you're starting off and you're already saying, like, I don't have that money, then you're already starting off the wrong way. You can go get it. Like, I see people who don't have $1, but for some reason they always got a blunt every day, right? They're able to constantly go get a blunt. You you don't got money to pay your rent.
Every day, though.
You figure it out, right?
Right.
And so here's what I would say when it comes to mentorship. And I've invested a lot in mentorship, well over 6 figures.
Okay.
I wouldn't be where I was today if I didn't invest in mentorship, if I didn't invest in college, right? Same thing, same principles. Right. Now, what I say is, in today's age, right, we're in the age of, like, information is dead. Like, you should not pay people for information anymore. You should pay people for systems.
Say that again.
Don't pay people for information. You can go on ChatGPT and look up some information. Right. You want to pay people for implementation, right? What are the systems that they have, that they've used, rinsed and repeat, that can be handed to you for you to rinse and repeat? Because the thing I always say is, you don't get any brownie points for doing things the hard way, right? You can go try to be Albert Einstein and try to create the new invention if you want to. Good luck. Best of luck to you. Right. I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's not the path I'm going to go. I'm going to follow the same exact path that someone else has taken that allowed them to be successful. I'm going to get that system. And now the beautiful thing about that system is that system comes with the cost that they paid, which was their mistakes. I get to avoid those mistakes that they had to go through, right? Because they're giving me the guidance before. They're giving me the guidance before I step into it. Now, the reason I say you need to look for systems is because a lot of these guys, I'll just call it like it is, they will charge you a lot of money to get in the room, right? For information. Like, that's cool. There's value to that. But I want your systems. What is your system? How do you operate your business every day? Give me your roles and responsibilities that you give in your team members. Give me your metrics that you measure in your business. Give me your ads that you are running. Give me that. That's what I want. And so I always suggest for people when they're looking for mentorship, don't just get information. Don't just look to get in the room. Yes, rooms change lives. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't get in the rooms. I'm here this weekend right now because I'm getting in the room. The tickets were $1,500 each. Right? And so I'm okay with that because it gets me in the room. I know I'm going to get a relationship. I'm going to probably get a client from it. Right? But like, you don't need mentorship specifically for that. Mentorship comes with systems. Give me your principles, give me your systems, because that's what allows me to go in and execute and do the things I need to do to live the life that I dream of. Okay.
What do you think about school communities? A lot of people now, of entrepreneurs, are starting their own communities, which also kind of ties back into the mentorship as well. So just kind of give me your opinion, or do you have a community-based situation?
I was tapping into the community for a little bit, but like the community that I have is more for my high-ticket clients, right? People who need support, who have came in and paid premium products, because the community, it works, right? I've seen it work, and it depends on the person. And I always believe that with any business model, any funnel, any system, any offer, they all work, right? And I think that people have to really focus on how do they want their life to look, and how can the business model support that life? And so what we call that is living a life by design, right? How do I design the ideal life that I want? Where do I want to live? What time do I want to wake up? What time do I want to finish work? What do I want to do when work is finished? How often do I want to travel? And so when I answer these type of questions, I put myself in a position where I can now leverage a business that supports that life. And that's freedom, right? That's me being intentional about creating a life for freedom. The issue that we see is most people will build their business and they try to squeeze their life in between the cracks that are now available after their business has drained their life. The reason that most people get stuck with that is because they chase every new strategy, they chase every new offer, every new technology. They feel like they got to chase it, when in reality, if you focus on how you want your life to be, you build a business model that supports that. So if I'm someone and I'm okay with jumping on weekly classes, I'm okay with recording course content, I'm okay with posting content to get people engaged in my community, but I'm also okay with it taking 6 to 8 months for me to make a recurring revenue that can be successful, then yes, let's run that.
Right.
If I'm someone who's just a straight shooter, like I'll tell you how I am. I like running live events. So I do virtual events, I do in-person events, and I spend my time, energy, and effort to become the best person at doing that, because that's aligned to my life. I love the fact that Monday and Tuesday of this week, we ran a 2-day workshop, right? I spent those 2 days, I did the workshop at 12. People were like, Adrian, why are you doing Zoom calls at noon? Don't people do it at 6? Well, that's how I want my life to be. I want to get it done.
It's based off your schedule.
Right. And now I can show up and become the best version of myself during those classes because my life is designed around that.
Which has been more successful for you? Is it better for an entrepreneur is the live training and the workshops, do you do them free when you first started just to kind of build that audience up, and then you switch to a paid model? Just kind of break that down for us.
So I still do it free. So I still do all my events free. Even my in-person events, we've been doing those free because people are still paying. They're just paying with their time. But also, I also am very intentional on my messaging, right? So when I talk about, so this is kind of like something that I want every, aspiring entrepreneur, current entrepreneur to be able to understand. When I communicate with the people I want to work with, I make sure my messaging does not communicate with people I don't want to work with. So I'll give you an example, right? So credit and funding is, a lot of people are in the credit and funding space.
Right.
Well, we know if you do funding, people need to have a certain credit score. The person that has a 500 credit score has a different lifestyle than a person that has a 700 plus credit score. So how can I identify the symptoms of the person that has a 700 credit score and identify the symptoms of the person who don't? And let me make sure my messaging only communicate with people with high credit scores. And it can't just say, oh, you got a 700 plus credit score. That's not good enough.
Right.
What does their life look like? Does it look like, oh, you got the nice car and a nice home, but your credit score doesn't match the amount of income you're making, right? Like that person is dealing with something completely different than a person who wakes up and literally says, I'm not paying anyone the rest of my life, right? So I'm always going to sit with this 500 credit score. So you have to communicate with these people differently. So I can always get away with doing stuff free because my messaging only relates to the people that I can actually work with.
Your core audience. Let's just kind of break down your companies for systems acceleration. Let's talk about some of the key services that you offer.
Yeah, the main thing that we do is we help entrepreneurs who are trapped, right? They're operating their business on a day-to-day basis. They're clueless. They don't know what's going on. They're being stuck and dragged into fire drills over and over and over again. So some of the things that we do is we come in, we help CEOs get clarity on the direction that they want to go. We help them identify the resources that they need to hire. We help them document their processes. So how can they use standard operating procedures so that way when they do delegate things to people, right, if they delegate, then they can do it with confidence that this person is going to deliver. They're going to do things the same quality that you would do it, but you have to be able to document the process first so that person has a guide. They have instructions on how to actually perform that role, because most entrepreneurs, this is where their SOPs are, right? Their documentation is in their head. How can we pull it from your head, put it on paper so that way you can delegate it? We also help with sales funnels, back end stuff. We have virtual assistants who are experts at Go High Level. Most people know what Go High Level is, but it's a CRM system that's taking over the world right now, honestly. So we help a lot of people with their back-end processes, automations, and things like that, basically to help them. How can you implement a business that's a real system that can not only give you freedom today, but how can you pass it down for generations and generations where your kids don't have to come in and become the CEO of that business, right? I always say, like, when I pass my business down, I don't want to have to force my kids to take on that role and basically live out the dream that I said was for them. I want them to come in as the owner of it. They don't even have to touch the business. There's already a CEO in place by the time it gets passed down to them.
Right.
So we help business owners be able, how do we set up this type of system to have a real business that you can even sell if you want to? Because I'll tell you this, if you are involved in the day-to-day of your business and you go try to sell that business, an investor will look at you crazy. Why would I buy a business from you that relies on you? Right? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So how can I set up my business to not rely on me, but it allows me to think, right? Like the most value I give my business is my thoughts. And then I have the team, the systems, the infrastructure. I have these things that can bring my thoughts to reality. And that's how you become a real CEO and a real business owner.
I got you. And what are the price points?
Yeah, so our services,
we got different packages, I'm sure.
Yeah, so our packages are usually pretty custom, right? So most of the time, people have to get on a call with us. We got to figure out where they need help. Most of the time, our packages are anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 based on what's needed. We do have a lot of free content that we give away to a lot of people, even people who are listening to this today. I want to make sure we give them a toolkit completely for free on the house that's going to basically give them the foundational systems that they need to put in a business to either launch a business or to scale a current business that they have.
Okay. Let's kind of get into the definition of 1% of men.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that in a post.
Yeah.
I saw it. I kind of commented on that post. What do you mean by 1% of men?
Yeah, top 1%.
Is that based off income, or is that based off what standards or model do you when you judge that?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's mindset, right? Because here's the thing. I want people to understand that most millionaires, they filed bankruptcy 3.5 times, right? If you take Warren Buffett, for example, and he loses all his resources, and he trades places with a homeless person, doesn't have access to any of his contacts, Warren Buffett will be able to rebuild his wealth, right? And it's because he understands systems. He understands how these things work. And so what I don't base it based on income. I base it based on a mindset. And as a man, right, there's certain things that we have to hold ourselves to, certain standards that we have to hold ourselves to. And a lot of it is not about money. It's the other things that we do that actually naturally brings the money to us, right? So one is consistency, right? Like the reason that most entrepreneurs fail is because as soon as something gets hard, they say, you know what, this doesn't work. Let me stop this business. Let me go find something new, right? I'll find something new, or I'll just go back to my 9 to 5 and I'll be quiet about it. But that's not what's going to breed you to be that top 1%. What's going to help you breed and become that person is having the ability to keep going when it doesn't work out the first time. And the reason that you can keep going is because you capture the lessons, right, of those losses, right? When you take those L's, I take the lessons and I reapply it, and now I have a better way of doing it the next time. But it's not easy to keep going and doing things once you fail, right? Internally, it beats you down, right? You're worried about what other people think, like, oh, other people see me as a failure. When in reality, other people got so much stuff going on in their lives, they don't have time to even think about what you got going on. Right? So when I say that, it's really having the discipline and consistency to keep going and doing things when you don't feel like it. And I think that's something that most men don't think of, right? They don't even like most people don't even set a goal, right? Like how can you live your life not even setting a goal? As a human being, one of the greatest things that we can do is we can change who we are, right? We can become a different person. And what keeps most people lost is that they never define who they want to become. So they let the world define what they are. They just fall into the world. It's like being in the middle of the ocean, right? And you're the captain. You literally just let the waves just take you wherever. You don't got no destination, and you just run around life lost. How can I change that?
And let's kind of talk about scamming in the black business culture.
Yeah.
It's huge right now, and several big influencers here. One here in the Atlanta area was just busted recently for a little bit of credit card fraud, food stamp fraud, things of that nature. How has scamming hurt the credibility of black business community?
Yeah, it's made it so much harder for even like legit business. Even like me, man, I run across so many people and we're serving these people and they literally will tell us a story about getting ripped off, things not working out for them and things like that. And it makes it really hard for people who are trying to build the business and doing it the right way. Now, here's what I'll say. I understand that most people, and I'll call it like it is, most black folks, when they invest in something and it doesn't work out, the first thing that they scream is, oh, this is a scam. If they see people trying to become a better version of themselves, even people trying to offer things to help people, they scream, oh, this is a scam. And they will call that a scam because they just don't know any better, right? Or they think it's cool. It's like a cool term to use right now. So I do understand most people do overuse that. They do overuse the word scam and things like that. Now, here's what I will say. I believe that 90% of the people who have been identified as scamming, I do believe that most of them are not truly intentionally scamming people. I think that they are getting people to pay for a service that they can't deliver on.
That's
and they're
true.
trying to figure it out, right? I don't think that they intentionally say, I'm going to take these people money and not give them a result. But I do understand that these people are focused on just making a dollar and not building a real business. And what I would tell you is these people are not going to be around long, because real business is not created from getting someone to pay you one time and then like you give them a bad experience and they never buy from you again. You can't last. Like, business doesn't work that way. The way business works is I get someone to pay me, I get them a result, and they keep coming to me over and over and over again. If I'm scamming everyone or not giving them a result, my business is going to fold, because I can't afford, like, no business owner can afford for every dollar that they make to come from new customers. You have to create repeat customers. And so a lot of these guys, yes, they're not intentionally scamming, but they're just giving bad service because they don't have systems. They don't have these things in place.
Right.
And they're also not being intentional enough to get these things fixed so that future people can be taken care of. Now, there are people who are intentionally scamming. And it's funny because I just came from a podcast earlier and we were talking about like imposter syndrome, right? And it was a bar. It was a bar that shout out to Kev, because Kev's the one that said it. I just came from Mark Quell's podcast. And what he said was, he's like, most of the time you get imposter syndrome from listening to real imposters, right? Like people who really aren't doing what they say they can do. We're listening to these people lie and do these things on the internet, and it influences us. So you do have those people out there. But what I always tell people is just give value, right? Like, give away content, give away these things that can create transformations for people before they spend a dollar. Because most of the people that buy from us, man, like, we're not getting just like, people that buy from us, we don't do no high pressure sales. When I do my in-person events, or I do my events in general, I don't do a bunch of pitching and stuff. I say, hey, here's the offer. You got 3 days to decide. Go home, talk to your spouse, do the things. Because the thing is, these people that buy from you, when you kind of force them to buy from you, like let's say you run a challenge and you're just pitching, you force people to buy from you, these people end up being the biggest headaches. Like, they didn't want to invest in the first place. You gave them the motivation to invest, and they end up being a terrible client. And it doesn't matter how good your program is, how good your service is, because you got the wrong person to come in, it's not going to work.
And most of that comes from selling with low ticket offers.
Low ticket, high ticket, all of them. All of them.
Right.
Like, I see it, man. I've ran the back end systems for some of the biggest guys in these industries. Like, I've ran it. I've seen how it works. I see what's going on the back end. Okay. And one of the things that we do is we really focus on how can we help these business owners create an infrastructure that actually serves their customers. Okay. Because what I teach is dangerous, man. Like, if a scammer comes across the stuff I can do, they can take it to the moon. They can go to the moon with it. But we're intentional who we work with. And Alex Hormozy said this. He said, the market is so big, right? Like, when you think about like the general population, it's so big that you can literally open up and run a 7-figure company and not get anyone results. And you're like, okay, why is that? It's because it's not enough. It's so many people out there that for you to make 7 figures, it's not enough people making enough noise to really tarnish your brand. And so what Alex Hormozy even said, he said like a lot of these guys, they'll come in, make an offer, run up their 7 figures, right? Not really serve anyone. Then they go into hiding, right? They go hide for a few months, maybe half a year, maybe a year, and they come back out with a new offer.
With a new offer. Yeah.
And it's because the first offer they didn't create enough results for people to keep coming back, and the noise started to create. But guess what? They can go make 7 figures doing that over and over again.
Right. So how do you keep that momentum going? To keep that 6-figure, well, to keep people coming back. Yeah. What are some of the things that you implement to do? And we'll kind of close out after this.
Yeah, I focus on client
experience. Because I'm sure clients leave, clients go, new clients are coming in, other people will stop subscribing. Just what do you do to kind of keep that momentum going?
Yeah, that's a good question. The best way to do that is actually communicate with the people that you serve. A lot of people try to come, and this is what happens. We come into a lot of people's business, and they're like, yo, I need money, right? And we go look, and we go see that you've already served hundreds of people that have paid you. These people want to come back to you. right? Like they're literally asking to work with you, but you don't have an offer for them.
Okay.
And so one of the biggest ways to make like we call it cash injection campaigns, when we can step into a business and help create immediate cash flow, is by going to the current customers and basically seeing what it is that they want, what do they need the most help with, and then making an offer that actually addresses that. And that kind of goes into like, what does it take to really build a real business that can serve people, to get people to keep coming over and over again? One, stop trying to guess what these people want, right? Like stop trying to force them to want the things that you believe that they want, and go have real conversations with them. Go ask them, right? We survey our clients probably every 3 months. We go in and we survey them. Hey, where are you stuck with? What did you enjoy about our services? What didn't you like? What do you need the most help with now? And so now I'm able to get real data, real feedback, right? Straight from the source. We're not using AI. We're not using that. Straight to the source.
To the customer. Right.
And now I have exactly what I need to do to essentially get this person to keep coming back, to get them a result. And you got to be like intentional on actually wanting to serve people. That's the only way that this works.
Right.
You have to really think, what are the daily symptoms that my person is dealing with, and how can my product or service address those to where they no longer have to deal with that anymore? That's how simple it is.
Yeah. Last question. How has marriage changed you as a businessman?
Yeah. So my
has it
lady,
added more structure to your life versus being single and out doing, you know, you were focused then, but are you more focused now?
Yeah,
because the purpose is much greater.
Yeah, it's so much greater.
How has it changed your life?
That's a secret weapon. People don't realize that's a secret weapon. So I'm engaged now. My fiance, she's actually here right now. We get married in March of next year.
Okay.
And what I will say, man, is like having someone that can hold you accountable at a deeper level, right? Like, yeah, you got your boys, you got your coaches, you got things like that. But the person that you wake up to every single day really has the biggest influence on everything that you do. And rather you believe it, rather you try it not to be that way, it's that way, right? Like just subconsciously. And so the way that she's able to keep me grounded, keep me focused, and hold me accountable really, really allows me to stay focused, keep my head down, and really avoid a lot of the noise, right?
Yeah.
Another thing is I always say, and a lot of people ask me like, oh, how did I know, like, you know, she was the one for me and that, right? That's that general
typical
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say she has to be able to make you a better version of yourself, right? And that's what I get in my relationship. Like she's able to help me become that better version of myself, because it does come down to allowing me to become more disciplined, right? It's coming down to allowing me to believe in myself, because as men, we go and we fight the world every day,
right? And
sometimes it gets to us internally. We believe that we're not actually able to do the things that we are intended to do, but having that extra voice, reaffirming you, telling you like, yo, you doing the right thing, you on the right path, it does wonders, man. That's a secret weapon. That's the secret. Look, for all my fellas out there, that's the secret weapon.
All right. Any last minute advice for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, my biggest thing
is
is...
give us 5 tips right quick.
5 tips? All right, I think I can fire off 5 of those things. One is always look to get paid for your value and not your time. There's only one thing that is limited in this universe. We live in an abundant world, unlimited customers, unlimited money, unlimited opportunity. But the one thing that is limited is time. So do not use a limited resource to go after that's something that's abundant. That's number one. The second thing is realizing your time as a CEO, realizing the value of your time. Don't short yourself. Don't go and leave your 9 to 5, take on this risk, right? You're taking on this big risk, no health care, like no consistent paychecks. You're doing all of this to create another 9 to 5 for yourself. When you step into that CEO position, actually become a CEO, and the only way you can do that is by acknowledging the real value of your time and sticking to that. The third thing, which kind of leads into that, is as a CEO, our responsibility is not to create a vision and just us to go create that vision. A real CEO is able to create a vision and get the people that are under them to support that vision as well. You empower people to go after that same vision that you have. And when you can get people on board, that's when you can get people with passion to be on your team. Because someone who has passion, even if they're not the smartest, even if they're not the most knowledgeable, if they have passion, they will always outperform the people who don't have passion, regardless of whatever, what they have. So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is I'll kind of go to like this cliche thing, like if you don't write goals, if you don't know what your goals are, you can't accomplish them. There's so many people who are literally walking blind every single day. Every single day. They have no determination of where they want to go, how they want to go, anything. So what ends up happening, they just become someone who becomes trapped in the world, and they live out whatever vision the world has for them, which is a very dangerous thing in today's time, especially with social media. So I always say the first thing is define your goals and actually write them out, put them in front of you over and over again. Because that's how the subconscious works. If I see my goal, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to step out in the world, and any and everything that's aligned to that goal that I've put into my subconscious naturally starts to come to me. You don't have to chase the things to get what you want. You should be attracting them. So that's always going to be a real big thing that I live by.
All right. Well, we appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule today, and also visiting the A.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you're going to have a good time while you're here and go out and, do a little visiting and the food and all the other culture that's involved. So I want to thank you again for coming out. I want you to give them your contact information.
Yeah,
How can people reach out to you? Tell them about any new projects you got coming up right quick, and what you have under development right quick.
Yeah, so Adrian McGee, you can find me on Instagram, ADRIANMCGEE_. So you can find me on Instagram. On YouTube, you can find me at Adrian McGee. You can go there, check out a lot of content, things that we have there. We have some amazing things coming. We're having 2-day workshops that are completely free. We'll make sure we put that in the bio for you guys as well. You can always jump in there and really learn, like, how do you actually implement systems into your business. And then again, just to show you guys love for being tapped in, I'm going to give you guys a toolkit. It has 5 trainings that are phenomenal, especially when you're first getting started off, that can really help you identify the core systems and things that you got to develop to be able to build a business. So we're going to give that away to you guys.
All right, man. We appreciate you for coming out.
Absolutely.
And those aspiring business owners, as well as established business owners who need a system in place for your companies, definitely reach out to Adrian. Give him a call. Him and his team will definitely take care of all of your problems that you may be having and experiencing at this time. And I want to thank you again for coming out.
Pleasure.
Please hit that like, share, subscribe button, and tune in for next week. We'll have another great entrepreneur for you in another great episode. Thank you for watching Streetpreneur Podcast.
Let's go.